Welcome to This Week in Perspective with me, Adam Simbe. The Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute, which is located in the premises of the Muhimbili National Hospital, was established and inaugurated last year, September. The institute is claimed to be, I'm using the word claim, but the professor will answer that, claimed as a state-of-the-art facility in East and Central Africa. In just over 2 years, this institute has gone a long way towards saving the government and the country financial costs of referring heart patients outside the country, especially to India. Today, we are privileged to have the executive director of the institute, Professor Mohamed Janabi, to enlighten Tanzanians of the institute and its services to the country. Welcome, Professor Janabi, to the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
It is a pleasure to have you on. Your institute has been in the eyes and ears of many Tanzanians, and I suppose non-Tanzanian outside the country, for the work it has been doing so far in a relatively short period of time. So thank you very much again for accepting my invitation to come. In the next 3 to 5 minutes, let's chat and see how we can educate the Tanzanians about your institute.
It's my pleasure.
So, let's start first, because let's lay the groundwork. What is the Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute, anyway?
Thank you, Mr. Simbe, for inviting me to talk about our institute, our National Institute. You said it correctly in your introduction. The institute was inaugurated last year, September, on the 5th, by the former president, His Excellency Jakaya Kikwete.
Yes.
But it was a process. There was a transition of 1 year before we could stand alone as a financial, waiting for the financial year. So officially, we started on the 1st of July of this year, though the inauguration was since last year.
Okay.
So we passed through a transitional period of 12 months. As you know, we were part of Muhimbili National Hospital.
Oh, you were part of
Yes,
Muhimbili.
we were Department of Heart Diseases inside Muhimbili.
Okay.
So it took 12 months in order to transfer staff, to transfer equipment which were in Muhimbili.
Okay.
But from 1st of July, we started to be independently, completely from the National Hospital as a standalone heart institute. And it's the only institute, the government-owned institute in Tanzania, dealing with heart disease. So absolutely, we don't deal with any other disease apart from heart diseases.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're dealing with only heart diseases, does this mean that you have enough cardiac patients to occupy the institute to the maximum, taking into account the facilities you have?
We do. If I just take you back a little bit.
Yeah.
When we were still with Muhimbili, we used to operate using theaters in the Muhimbili Orthopedic Institute.
That's Moi.
Moi, yeah.
Yes.
So we started there way back in 2008, before we moved to our building in 2012. On average, by then, we were operating about 50 patients a year. So if you look from 2008 to 2014, we managed to operate about 350 patients. But the big revolution, coming to your question, do we have enough patients, came in from 2014 onwards, because by then we were having our own building, which we have about 104 beds. These are ordinary beds, and then we have
104 beds for pediatric as well as adults?
Together, adults and the pediatric side. We have 9 intensive care unit beds, ICU, which is a state of art, and we have 6 coronary care unit beds. This is where our heart attack patients are admitted. Now, it's a good question that, do we have enough patients? We are overwhelmed.
You are overwhelmed.
I'll give you the data just from July to September, which is our first quarter as an independent. We have seen 91,000 patients.
91?
In the outpatients. You are talking of 30,000 patients a month.
That's OPD?
Those are outpatients who come every day. We have clinics there from the morning to very late at night sometimes. And the biggest influx are, I can say, because if you look last year, we saw about 50,000 patients the whole year. But I think recently, when people started to know our institute,
yes,
through the procedures we do, there was a big influx of patients. Actually, it really shocked us because our expectations was to see about 10,000 patients a month, which we could manage. But the influx with the campaigns, I think one time, if you remember, early this year,
yes,
the Regional Commissioner of Dar es Salaam did a campaign in Kinondoni,
yes,
which was a live coverage. Recently, again, we did in Mnazi Mmoja. So the word went round, and the influx has been immense.
You're handling that. Okay. So, but the next question is equally important. I know you're overwhelmed by the number of not so cold, but would be patients. I mean, you don't know whether they actually, when they come to you, they're already patients or they suspect to be patients. What services does the Institute provide, to be more specific?
Yeah, to be more specific, let me start with an outpatient, where we see most of our patients. We screen them there, then those who are supposed to be admitted, we admit them. At the outpatient there, we see, if I start with the children, pediatrics side, most of the patients of pediatrics, they come with congenital heart diseases. Okay. They are born with these diseases. They've got holes in their hearts. They've got blood vessels which are displaced. We see kids with, there's something called rheumatic heart disease. The heart has got 4 valves. These valves are infected. And it's sad because the infections normally, they're just very simple sore throats. And parents consider, oh, it's a sore throat. Yes. They try to manage them with paracetamols and everything, and cough mixtures. Unfortunately, those, they move from the throat and they start to circulate in the blood. And as you know, all our blood has to pass through the heart. So once they reach the heart, they stick to the valves. Yes. And this one side of the story, but the other side, the people in the rural areas, they don't have access sometimes to the basics antibiotics because it said this disease is just treated by penicillin, which is less than $5. So those are the other kind of patients we see. Adults, 60% of our patients come with high blood pressure. Okay. So sorry to come in here, Professor. For the children, there's a pediatric problem. Is the congenital heart? Majority come with congenital heart. So this is this highly prevalent? It's pretty prevalent. Presents itself at the institute? It does. I'll give you an example. Last year, there were 2 million live births in Tanzania. 2 million kids entered the population of Tanzania. Yes. Normally, if you use WHO research, 0.8% of them will have heart disease. So you are talking last year, probably 13,600 kids. That's a big number. It's a big number. Does it worry you? Very much. Oh dear. Oh dear. Very much, because one, most of them will not reach us, because most part of Tanzania, they don't have specialized places like ours to pick these diseases. Yes. So they'll get all kind of labels, from pneumonias to malarias to typhoid to... So by the time they come to us, those few lucky ones, sometimes it's too late even to operate. Just on that score, before we move on to the adults, if
these are the patients who are brought from all over the country because you are not decentralized.
Yeah.
You are centralized in Dar es Salaam. Have you ever thought of following the patients rather than the patients following you, or whatever means, like visiting the regions, a specific period time during the year, announcing it that Heart Institute will be sending experts to, let's say, Mwanza region, Kagera, Mbeya region. I must favor Mbeya because that's where I come from. I mean, Songwe.
Yeah.
Do you have that kind of thing?
It's a great idea, Mr. Simbey, and we would love to do it frequent. But as I told you, we are already overstretched with the ones who are already here.
Yes.
And now, for me to allow two doctors to be out of the institute, it will be a nightmare. But we have done screening. We have done screening in Kilimanjaro.
Yes.
We have done screening through NHIF in several regions in Tanzania. Our specialists go out there with portable ultrasound echo machine for the heart and try to bring the kids. Recently, only last month, we went to Zanzibar. We came back with 25 children whom we operated successfully, all of them. They're all back in their respective homes. So we do. Once an occasion rise up, we do that. We are going to do the next one sometime next week.
Okay. We go back again to the kind of patients and the specific cardiac diseases that you attend to. So far for the children, okay, it's a congenital. For the adults, wazee kama mimi na wewe, and everybody, you say is high blood pressure.
Is high blood pressure. But if you allow me, just I overlooked one thing. For the children,
Yes.
what we have started a new service there. We can screen pregnant mothers who are 18 weeks pregnant and older.
Yes.
So that we can pick the heart diseases now.
Much earlier.
Much earlier. We did a screening 10 days ago for 50 mothers. Already 5 of them, we know exactly they are going to have kids with heart problems. So it allows us, one, to inform the parents, so we can plan even the delivery, how safe should be done, whether by cesarean section or if assisted, or even if it's a spontaneous delivery, but caution should be taken that the kid coming out, the baby coming out, has a heart condition. And also we can plan the surgery for the child. Whether to do it as early as possible or to delay it depending on the condition. Now, coming up, so I encourage.
Yes, but do you liaise at that point? Do you liaise with the gynecologists?
We do.
For example, at the Muhimbili National Hospital?
We do.
Once you've done the screening,
we
so that they are also aware?
We do with the respective doctors because we receive patients from Amana, Temeke, Mwananyamala, sometimes upcountry. And it's a program which we have just started, the service which we have just started. So we'll definitely liaise with the respective obstetrician who handles the mother.
Okay, we go now to the adults.
Yes.
What is so prevalent there? Is it the high blood pressure? Or
blood pressure, Mr. Sembe, is a time bomb because 60% almost of the patients we see at our Heart Institute, they're high blood pressure. Now, the unfortunately thing, by the time someone comes to the hospital, it's not high blood pressure again. It's a complication.
It's a complication
of high blood pressure. As you might know, blood pressure is a silent disease. It's a silent killer. Because what it does, it will destroy your heart slowly, it will destroy your eyes slowly, it will destroy your sexual life slowly, it will destroy your kidneys, it hits you on the brain, you'll get a stroke. So when patients come to us, they don't come to us that, I think I have high blood pressure. I'm not passing urine properly. I've got a stroke. I can't breathe properly. And we know by then it has already hit the target organs, the ones which I have mentioned. So it's a really duty of us medics and the media people and the government as a whole we need to sensitize our people to go out there and do screening, do your medical checkups. Because there's this antidote that stories that, oh, I have a headache, I think I have high blood pressure. But Mr. Simbe, let me tell you, if you don't eat your lunch, you'll have headache.
Okay.
If you have trouble with your boss, you'll have headache. Yes. If you have malaria, you'll have headache.
Yes.
So it's not specific for high blood pressure.
Yes.
And people should know that. It's dangerous.
They shouldn't take it for granted.
They shouldn't take it.
Because they have a headache, they buy aspirin.
No.
Oh dear, oh dear. While we're on that point, therefore, Professor, what specific, as I said, the services, particular, that you focus on at the Institute?
Yeah. If we continue in the same question, those are the services which I've said we provide them with outpatient, but we do have, there's a special machine there, they call cath lab.
Okay.
And this is a big machine. The government spent $2 million to buy it. And this is where we daily do about 6 to 7 cases. People who come with symptoms of a heart attack. Mm-hmm. So we investigate by going in using catheters to the heart,
yes.
investigate what blood vessel is blocked, mm-hmm. and put small metals called stents. Mm-hmm. But they're not ordinary metals. It's about 2 million shillings, 1 2-centimeter mm-hmm. metal. Mm-hmm. At the same time we use it, we have 2 types of surgeries we do at our center. One is called open chest, mm-hmm. which is open heart. We open the chest. And
we do open heart surgery as well, yeah?
We do. We have already done 388 cases this year. Yeah. So, but there's another method which we use. It's called a close method. We don't open the chest. We go in using tubes. Mm-hmm. It's just a 2-centimeter incision, a cut. We go in. Mm-hmm. For children also we do it. There is a hole in the heart and we seal it. Okay. Yeah, and this is usually our best method because we can do it on Monday and discharge you on Tuesday. We can discharge you on Wednesday or Thursday. They don't stay here long.
Yes.
So those are the services at the cath lab. We also put pacemakers at the cath lab. Mm-hmm. And recently, as you heard, the famous, we have inserted batteries on 2 people, which was, we really take pride of the Institute mm-hmm. because it was first time done.
Part of the pacemaker?
No, this is more than pacemaker. This one, in simple terms, we put 2 machines with you. Mm-hmm. One will control your rhythm of the heart. Yes. The other one, in case your heart wants to fail, it will shock you. It's an electrical shock.
Internally.
Internally, you have it. It will detect. Okay. Now is the time to give a small shock, and it will give you a shock. It's called CRTD. Mm-hmm.
And this saves life?
Very much. We had a patient who was fainting. The one we kept, one of them who we kept machine, he couldn't go from here to where your cameras are because he'll just faint.
That's short distance.
He can't move. He'll just get the fainting attacks because the heart is wired like an electric system. Yes. Once it's not functioning,
short circuit,
you need a pacemaker. So we do that. Then we have our 3 theaters on the 3rd floor, and 2 are functional, and the other one we hope to open it maybe early next year. Okay. This is where we do our daily surgeries.
Okay. What are those daily surgeries?
Those ones, they are children or adults with valves. The heart has got 4 valves. Okay. Now, when the valves are not functioning, yes, because of whatever the reason, we change valves. We put a metallic one. Okay. We put a metallic one. We repair the valves, yes, a different type of repair, not like the car one. Mm-hmm. We have done bypass. Okay. I think you heard about it. Yes. Early this year. At the same theaters, we put, they call fistulas. These are ports for people who are on dialysis. We put the permanent ones. So there are multiple things which are already, they're being done there.
Okay.
So it's a pretty busy place.
Pretty busy, yes. Now, I think the best follow-up question will be, what are the charges for all these services you do? I mean, they seem to be complicated for an ordinary person, but for you as a professional, you do them. I mean, this has been done for the first time in this country. But how much do they cost by individual patients, and can Tanzanians really afford?
Let me put it this way, and I'll come specific to how much does it cost. We have four modes of payment at our institute.
Yes.
There are those we call private.
Okay.
They pay cash. We have big number which are covered by our national health insurance
national health
and
insurance,
other kind of insurance, NSSF, AAR, and others. We have a group which we say exempted.
Oh.
Yeah, they are completely, they don't pay.
What is?
But they don't pay in inverted commas because somebody else has to pay.
Somebody pays for them
Somebody
blindly.
pays for them. And there are those we call public. They
Okay.
contribute a nominal fee. Now the prices range, to be honest. They range from 2 million shillings to 8 million shillings.
2 million to 8 million.
Million. And why do we charge? As I stated earlier,
Yes.
we put devices, we put pacemakers, we put metallic valves, we put stents. We have to buy these things. And so in order to sustain the program, in order to sustain the project,
Yes.
somebody has to pay.
Okay.
But if you consider, since we started if you combine, for example, the procedures we have done this year alone, 388 surgeries, 562 cath lab procedures.
Yes.
We have done almost 950 to date, and we have not finished the year. And I'm sure we are going to do over 1,000 this year. It might sound expensive, 2 million shillings or 8 million shillings, but consider when we send a heart patient to India.
That's very interesting, because I was going to add there the cost. Is it competitive rather than send them to India?
Actually, I won't even use the word competitive because it's really, you can't compare the prices. Because to send a patient to India today for a simple surgery of heart, it's $7,500. That is 16,500,000. That's just the surgery. The ticket for the patient plus the one who escorts the patient.
Yes.
You are talking of another 12 million because it's about $5,400 something dollars.
Yes.
So if you put collectively, that's 29 million.
That's sending somebody to
Sending
India.
one patient to India. And we are talking there's no complication. Go there on Monday, come back to Tanzania on Thursday. Now we have done we are approaching 1,000 patients. Now let's take 29 million shillings.
Yes.
Times 1,000. I leave you to calculate.
My dear, the viewers, you have to calculate that, and
I leave you to calculate.
Yes.
And so the difference for one patient whom we operate at Muhimbili with the one sending to India is between 12 to 16 million, if not more. The difference for one patient. So sending one patient to India, we can almost do 5 patients.
For the same cost?
For the same cost. And let me say this, it's not only, I send you a patient to India today. This is a mother from Simiyu. Cannot speak English, The culture is different that side.
She's
The
never
food is
traveled
different.
outside
She
the
has never
country.
traveled out. So you can see, and she has got a child of 1 year. But what happens in JKCI, in our institute? The relatives are living in Bagala. They take a border at 4 o'clock to
Yes.
come and see the patient.
Yes.
They speak the same language.
Yes.
Me
So do the staff,
me
as
and
it
our
were.
team, we speak the same language. We've got
Yes.
the same culture. We can explain to the parents and the relative what has gone on. But, Mr. Smith, let me say one thing on behalf of the entire JKCI. We really don't look at how much money we have saved.
Mm.
We look on how many lives we have saved. For 1,000 patients, we have almost 1,000 patients we have saved this year. It could have taken the government 6 to 7 years to send them, because you don't have only heart problems. You have people with cancer, you have kidney patients, you
Yes.
have people with bone problems.
Yes.
So roughly the lucky ones in a year could have been, let's say, 100.
I read somewhere that your institute actually, for not referring these cases to India, saved almost 4-point-something billion shillings.
Yeah, that was on the first quarter.
Just on the first quarter.
First quarter of this year. But now if you compute it, we haven't done the final analysis, I'm sure we are approaching 8 billion
Oh, dear.
saving them.
Yeah. Now, another interesting question will be, do you have a competitor in the country?
In the country, I would say no.
There's no other hospital in Tanzania which almost does the same work like you?
No, they are partial work, I can say. Let me start with the private hospital. Aga Khan does, they've got a cath lab like what we have.
Yes.
But Aga Khan does not operate.
Mm-hmm.
Does not operate on, does not do open heart surgery.
Okay.
So if they find anybody there, they have to refer to Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute. Bugando sometimes does,
In Mwanza?
in Mwanza, does a few surgeries with cooperation with overseas collaborators
Yes.
in US or in India. So when you talk a country as a country, we are the only institute. And we take pride of it. I'm sure if I can add something there. You heard around July, we went to Kigali, Rwanda to help them.
Oh, you did?
We sent a team, they're a small team of ours, and they operated on 25 kids.
You could afford that, but you left a vacuum here because earlier you said you just can't.
It was a special request. And it was also to tell them what services do we have.
Okay.
Because it pays. You know, November last year, we had twins from DRC Congo,
Yes.
whom we operated successfully.
Yes.
They went back. They
word
spread
went
the
round.
word. This year in September, we had 2 more kids from DRC Congo. We had 3 kids from Uganda, because our price you can't compare with Uganda and Kenya, and safety too. Because with 388 patients, I've told you, the death is 5%. Only 20 patients passed away, and is accepted.
And it could not necessarily have been because of your procedure. But
Some of them coming late and to see us, and internationally, it's a problem. Centers like ours, they are allowed up to 13%. You cannot be successful because of multiple reasons. As I didn't mention it earlier. For example, we use, for open heart surgery, sometimes we use up to 8 units of blood, because most of our patients come very anemic.
Oh dear, oh dear.
So it complicates the entire surgery.
So constantly need enough adequate supply of blood, isn't it?
Yes. So we are, the institute is doing good when you look on that side.
It might be repetitive, but I read some reports somewhere that say the institute has done well in just a year. Is it true? Of course, from what you've explained, and why?
I think we have done pretty well, because if you consider the numbers of surgeries we have said we have done, procedures in total 950 since March last year, and our record of safety on and safety here. We talk on the death which we have encountered both in the cath lab and the theaters and in the wards. It's pretty low. We didn't come with the poster here, but you look on other countries, Nigeria 22%, you look on South Africa 15%, and we are talking of 5%. So it's a pretty good record, I can say. But the other thing which has helped us is collaboration we get from the government and other charities, because as I said, when we say we exempt somebody to pay,
yes,
somebody pays for it.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure you saw the BAPS charity,
yes,
who gave us 220 million last year to operate for the 100 kids.
A few months ago, I understand. I
Yes,
read it.
we finished the 100 kids, and they normally come and see them before we operate. They see them after operation. They were very satisfied. They promised another 220 million, which just a few weeks back. They've brought in other charities which have been helping us. INM Bank, Bakresa Group is helping us a lot.
Okay.
Rotary, Dar es Salaam Rotary Club, I have to be very thankful to them. And then we have our collaborators from US, Mending Kids Heart, Save the Child Heart from Israel.
Yes.
We have Mutada from Saudi Arabia and UK. We have Open Heart International from Australia.
Okay.
So when they come and operate with us,
Yes.
there are two things which are happening there. One, they provide the service,
Free. Not quite.
reducing our waiting list,
Yes.
because we don't pay them. But the second, which is so crucial, is the training, in-house training.
Okay.
Because if you look on our data, last year, 70% of the operations we did together with our collaborators.
Okay.
But this year is the other way around. We have 60% of the operations done by ourselves. If you look on the cath lab, 90% of the procedures we do them ourselves.
Okay.
And we hope, we have given ourselves 5 years, we'll be reducing these missions as time goes.
But you can't stop them completely.
We can't stop them because the technology
Yeah,
goes up,
keeps on changing,
changing,
yes.
and it goes without saying. North America, Europe, Australia, they're ahead of us. So there's always a new product to learn from them.
Yes.
Because like this, doing an operation without opening the chest,
Yes.
we learned through the missions when they were here.
Yes.
It's called minimum invasive procedures.
Okay.
So we are not going to stop them completely,
Yeah.
but maybe the numbers in future we might
Reduce.
because like this year we had 8 groups, maybe we're going to reduce them.
Just as a follow-up on that, let me say, okay, with that kind of work that you're doing, the numbers are very staggering, they're very impressive. How many cardiac specialists in all the special branches of the institute or consultants do you have on board?
Yeah, this way the struggle starts. We have 14 medical specialists, and when I talk of medical specialists, these are doctors with 2 degrees.
Okay.
After the undergraduate, they got their masters in internal medicine. And then we have the seniors ones now. These are people with the 3rd degree. I mean, they are specialists, the heart surgeons, the interventionalists, and the general surgeons. Those are 13. So in total, we have 13 of them, but in different areas. So the number might sound big, but you find, I'll give you example for pediatric surgeon. We have 1. We have for adults, we have 3. We have the interventionalists, we have 4 or 5. So if you spread them, we are still few. But the good thing, we have put the plan for training. About 20 of our staff now, doctors, they're on training to get their 2nd degrees, and about 6 of them, they're already in the process of getting the 3rd. So
where do you train them? At the premises or outside the country?
We have the ones who are training here with the MOHAS. We have South Africa. There are 2 in South Africa. We have 1 in Russia. We have 2 in Israel. And we're expecting to send some in India.
Okay.
Now, so the good thing about our institute is a heterogeneous group. People who studied in Europe, people who studied in Israel, people who studied in South Africa, people who studied within the country. So it makes the group stronger, because when you combine and then we have our own style of working, it makes us a little bit unique.
All right. I would be interested to know and to understand, and of course the viewers will also want to know, why are heart diseases on the rise in Tanzania? Because that, of course, has something to do with the kind of workload you have at the institute.
Yes, Mrs. May. I'll polish your question.
All right.
The heart diseases are on the rise in sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh, okay.
Now,
I wanted to be more specific.
Yeah,
for
Tanzania being among them. What Tanzania is experiencing, like the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, there's something called, we term it epidemiological transition, which I'd say it's a terrible thing, because even if you compare the transition which Europe and North America went through, the one in Tanzania or sub-Saharan Africa,
Yes.
the pace is so fast. And what do we really mean with that? The epidemiological transition which we are seeing, the urbanization, the lifestyles,
I mean, changes in lifestyle, I suppose?
completely change of lifestyle. So, unfortunately, this goes hand in hand with an increase of things like heart diseases. I'll give you an example. Our country, we take pride. The infant mortality has gone down. The neonatal mortality has gone down. The maternal mortality has gone down. Lifespan has increased. Even the government went to an extent of increasing the age of retirement. But it comes with a price.
Okay. The viewers will want to know, what price is that?
The price is, if people are not dying, they are going to live longer.
Okay.
And with heart disease, this is what it loves.
Is that so?
Because you get, like for adults, you get heart disease as the age advances. So it came with a big price, which we were not prepared.
Okay. But that could assume that we were dying. We were dying earlier. If
We were dying earlier.
Then that
in the
would have-
past, you get a heart disease. There was no Jakaya Kikwete. There was Cardiac Institute. There was no Muhimbili National Hospital was not doing. The government was not sending everybody to India for treatment. So you die silently.
You go at an
You
early
go.
age.
We didn't have dialysis, people with kidney diseases. Now we have dialysis. If you prolong a dialysis patient life, first you pay the price of dialysis procedure, but the heart diseases also pick up. We have imported, with the improvement of economy,
Yes.
there are televisions everywhere now.
Yes.
We have imported the lifestyles of the Western countries. When I'll give my own example. I was living in Kinondoni when I was studying in Azania. I used to cross over Jangwani to go to Azania school. Now you have buses everywhere, you have borders everywhere, and recently we have the fast-moving buses.
So we don't walk anymore.
People don't walk. When I was growing up in Dar es Salaam, there was no traffic. The cars were moving. Somebody moves from here to TBC to the center, 10 minutes, goes down and start to walk.
Yes.
Now you can be stuck in the traffic for 2 hours.
Up to 3 hours.
Up to 3 hours. Consumption of alcohol. I was just reading in today's paper, The Guardian,
Yes.
the new study which came from South Wales in Australia.
Yes.
When I was growing, and I'm sure Mr. Sembe, you too might have noted it, women were not drinking that much.
Except in the villages,
Except
with
in
the
the
local brew.
But the new study, what has it shown now?
Yes.
That difference of gender between men drinking more than women, it's almost covered now. It's almost equal. And why has it happened? The old times, women were traditionally housewives and doing private economical things to get their income. Now, it's a 50-50 policy.
They've professionals.
They are professions. They are doctors. They are engineers. They are lawyers. They have their own money. They are pilots. So they can afford their own drinks. So the drinking has gone up. Unfortunately, even ourselves, there's even Nyamachoma festival now, and people get excited. So you find our eating habits have gone up. Yes. Eating processed food has gone up, but it comes with a price.
Yes.
People have become very inactive.
Yes. As a result?
As a result,
big weight.
Big weight. And if you get a big weight, the heart diseases are waiting for you. The diabetes is waiting for you. So development has come with a price. Yeah. Now for Tanzania and the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, it's even a nightmare because we still have communicable diseases. The HIV, AIDS is there, the malaria is there, malnutrition is there, poor vaccination is there. Yes. So it's a double burden now. You have your NCDs, non-communicable diseases. You have not even finished the fight with the communicable diseases. Yes. So this double burden is a war by itself.
Are you being pessimistic? This is serious. Is there a way through it?
The way through it, I think we have to change our mode of approaching things because we are still on get sick, we cure you. I think it's supposed to be the other way around. We have to invest on prevention now. Sensitize our population about exercise, sensitize our population about eating. Go back to the basics for our kids. When they come home, they don't have to sit in front of the television the whole evening. Yes. They should get out and exercise. We should change our mode of life. See, people now go home, they eat about 11 o'clock, they dinner, 12 o'clock, they dinner. When you finish eating there, you go to bed. The body does not use that food. It goes to the store. You'll grow fat, definitely.
Cut down on alcohol?
Cut down on alcohol. Cut down on smoking. Cut down on foods with a lot of cholesterol and calories. And cut down even the amount of the way we eat. Because I'll give an example of a white collar. Why should you eat food which has got 3,000, 4,000 kilocalories? You are not a porter because you will not burn that food. You're in your office. So there are
that would be okay for a porter at the port?
Yes, because he carries heavy luggages. So he uses a lot of calories. But what about a white collar? Where are you going to use it?
Who sits in the office?
Who sits in the office. So we are killing ourselves slowly. Let's have a habit of doing a medical checkup.
Okay.
Because it will alert you early that your health is not good or
there's something wrong somewhere.
There's something wrong somewhere. You'll seek medical attention early. Rather than waiting when you get sick, then it becomes very expensive.
Professor, I like that point because I've gone through some experiences where people don't want to take somebody to the hospital when maybe it's just beginning to show some problem. They wait until it's too late in the middle of the night. That's when they rush the patient to the hospital.
Yes.
When did he start or when did she start? Oh, 3-4 days ago. Why didn't you bring him or her early enough?
Exactly.
So education
is very crucial. At the schools, at workplace, media people, we really beg you.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other last point why the increase of heart disease is up, I think the other thing is not that in the past there were no diseases, heart diseases. No, I think our ability now, our diagnostics tools, our hospitals, they can pick the diseases now. You have a hospital in Bugando, you have a hospital in KCMC, you have a hospital in Beira.
The referral hospitals.
Referral hospitals, and the regional hospitals have been upgraded a lot. So our diagnostic ability has grown up. Likewise, our manpower has grown up. Today I'm talking we are 15, 16 cardiologists. Before 2000, there was one cardiologist in Dar es Salaam.
I remember my famous consultant cardiologist,
Yes, you remember.
Professor McKenney, the late McKenney, and very few, isn't it?
During McKenney's time, there were one or but now we are talking. So the number of doctors has gone up, and it will grow even.
Have we reached the WHO requirement that one doctor per every is it 1,000 patients or what?
We haven't. We are still far from that. If we look on the doctors today, it's in Tanzania is about one doctor to 25,000. We are still.
Okay, now, doctor, I expected this would be very interesting. How then does your institute sustain itself? Is it just by a few patients who can afford it to pay 2 million or 8 million, or the support of these other institutions, which means those who we attend to don't have to pay, but the insurance companies come in? I mean, how do you sustain yourself? Does the government subsidize your institution?
Yeah, we get a small subsidies from the government. We depend on the national insurances, different kind of insurances, and our donors, the charities which I have mentioned before. The missions we get from outside Tanzania, because when they come, honestly, they come with the consumables which they donate to the institution. And we have continued to sensitize the general population, because now at least they contribute something. Whatever minimal they have, we take it and subsidize. An operation can be of 2 million and somebody tells you, I just have 100,000. We say, fine, we'll take the 100,000, we save you and try to subsidize. So we are trying to revolve the little funds which we get and hoping more people. The government has been talking about Tanzanians having compulsory national health insurance, which we are really looking forward, because to sustain an institute like ours and others which are coming up, they have to be funded. Because it's unfortunately, we don't do just the routine work. You come, we talk with you, we write a prescription and go and find a medicine. We do procedures. We need the devices. We need the different types of things, the valves, the everything, which we have to buy them. We need the pacemakers, we have to buy them. So my biggest plea to the general population is the government cannot afford sustaining every sector. They have to, the agriculture, the roads and everything. Our people, when we say, please contribute, they should contribute.
Kind of share the responsibility.
Yes, because that's the only thing which can see our institute staying afloat. Because the danger of looking on the opposite, if we cannot sustain the project, then we'll go back where we were, which none of us wants to go back that side. And our other wish, as we are the only institute at the moment, I think somehow is a good thing.
Yes.
Because it's good to give it time, 2-3 more years. We are going to learn where did we go wrong. The experts are going to increase in numbers, then start to open satellite centers. Open one in Bugando for the Lake Zone, open one in Moshi for the north, open one in Mtwara for the south, open in Beira for the south too. Open one, Dodoma is looking forward soon. The Benjamin Mkapa, they've already got the infrastructure. It's just to build up the manpower. Mloganzila, our new hospital.
Yes,
It's state-of-the-art, 600 beds. And they've already put the infrastructure for heart diseases. So it's just a matter of time, and we are going to work with them to build the capacity that side.
Yes.
So we hope in few years to come, heart diseases, if I have to be specific on that, we'll have more centers which will take care of our patients.
Time seems to be going. Does this mean, therefore, there will come a time when this country will not be sending patients to India for cardiac problems, cardiac ailment?
Let me not use the word they will reach a point where we are not going to send patients to India. No. And I'm saying no in the sense that the technology, as I said in the beginning, keeps picking up.
Yes.
And our developing countries are always a little bit behind. But what I'm going to say for sure, and not in future, it's already there now. I think this year we have sent less than 20 patients. 950 have been taken care here.
Yes.
I'm sure the number will be going down.
Absolutely.
And I'm seeing it very soon. It will be digital number, sending 5 patients, sending 9 patients, and these are really complicated.
Yes.
And what we have done, the patients some of the patients we have sent, like the ones we have sent in Israel, what we do, we send the doctors with them. So they learn what are they doing.
Okay. All right.
So this is something new which we have started.
Okay.
Once we send the patient, we try to make sure one of our doctors go with the patients and do the surgeries together with our partner. And the other thing is not only the surgery, because some of the patients we send the problem is not doing the operation, the aftercare after operation.
All right.
We are still on the developing part,
right,
the post-op care we call it.
Yeah.
So it's something also we are on the learning curve.
Okay. And hope you're handling that very well.
We appreciate it.
Okay. Very, very quickly, Professor, in the next 4 minutes before I even come to conclusion. So what are the challenges of the Institute with all its good work to continue being a center of excellence? A few challenges the real fundamental challenges you face, or you think you will face.
If I have to mention few challenges which we have, the first one, as I said, still the funding problem. We have to have a sustainable funding we know is out there.
Yes.
The second biggest thing we are facing now is being something new to Tanzania.
Yes.
We don't have enough suppliers.
Supply of the
basic devices which we want,
the
consumables which we need every day. Because I put a request today, maybe that thing is not in the country, is in Nairobi or is in South Africa. So sometimes we get delays, big delays to get the consumables.
Okay.
The third important thing also is the general population understanding, because for them, everything is free. So when you tell them, please contribute, they really don't understand it. But it's high time for Tanzanians to understand government cannot cover everything. They have to contribute.
Absolutely.
Our biggest other challenge, which we mentioned a little bit, the patients come to us too late. Because there are cases which they come and then the window of operation has passed. We have tried to sensitize people, because the other thing which the general population needs to understand, even if you have the money, if you get a heart attack in Masaki, you have 90 minutes to be on the table. That's the WHO guideline. So until you organize the plane, it takes you to Nairobi or it takes you to South Africa, I don't think you'll reach. So I want people to give us the trust. We have got a good trust. And we have treated heart attack patients. The other challenge which you have seen, and we've used even TBC to try to arrange this, is blood when we do our operations. We need a lot of blood. Because if we use 6 to 8 units of blood per patient, if you have 100 patients, you are talking of 800 units.
Yes. Yes.
And we can't operate without
Right.
blood.
Okay, Professor, thank you very much. I'm sorry time seems to be against us, but I must thank you very much for the explanation of what the institute does. That's Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute, a relatively new state-of-the-art institution in the country. With what you have achieved so far, I mean, many Tanzanians, including myself, should pat you in the back. But as for the challenges you have raised, I hope the viewers up there will have will hear these and do the necessary action where they are supposed to do their part. And this is a serious and fundamental institution which requires support in every corner, as it were, in every aspect, but financially, of course, to sustain yourself. Thank you very much for all that you are doing. Congratulations. Viewers, you have heard an excellent presentation by the Executive Director of the Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute. This is a state-of-the-art facility which has come at the right time to save not only millions of shillings to send Tanzanians to, for example, to India for treatment, but also to save many Tanzanians with the cardiac problems which could have otherwise been difficult to treat locally. Last year alone, for example, I read somewhere, after the institute was inaugurated, overseas heart operations, mostly in India, cost the nation about 4.7 billion shillings, while it costs 1.7 billion shillings for carrying out similar surgeries at the Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute. According to Professor Janabi, people from all walks of life have found answers to their heart conditions and get the cardiac services required locally at the JKCI, hopefully much cheaper than if they had been referred to India. We hope the JKCI services will be available to all Tanzanians regardless of their wealth and financial status and capability. But as he said, Professor said, we need to be careful. We need to understand that to get these services, which are very specialized, we need to kind of have a sharing the costs, the expenses that the institute will incur in attending to cardiac problems. We congratulate Professor Janabi and his entire team at the institute for their excellent work in treating cardiac ailments in the country. That's all we have for you viewers today. Until next Sunday at 21 hours and on Thursday at 15 hours for the repeat program. On behalf of Professor Janabi, my TBC Television Center crew, and you viewers, I say goodbye.